looks like we're live. So wonderful. I'm so happy to be here. I am also so happy to have Tomasa on. Tomasa has been um, a big part of the energy healing conferences ever since she very first started participating. And I just feel really grateful that we're still able to have her participate even when we're out of the state of Utah, because she doesn't even live in the state of Utah. So she's traveling no matter which event it is, when she's coming in. So I'm very excited to have her be a part of this. And I want to introduce you a little bit to her so that you know who she is and what she's all about. But I also want to make sure that you guys know that she's a friend of mine, and she's somebody that I consistently send people to her when she's at our conferences so that they can get some work done by her, so that they can meet her in person and experience the magic that is Tomasa. She's just awesome, you guys. So for those of you who are watching because you are going to be participating in our upcoming energy healing conference this coming Saturday in Arizona, I just want to say I can't wait. I'm so thrilled to be able to come and participate with you and meet as a collective. Tomasa she's mostly been living on and off through the Tucson area. So I feel really lucky that she gets to come up and be in the Tempe area this time. She is a Berkeley trained engineer, and she turned to what she's doing now because it felt like her soul's calling. And she's nationally certified as a Diplomate of Asian Bodywork Therapy, which the alphabet letters for that is the NCCAOM. And you guys, she's had nearly 3 decades of experience with holistic healing. She's the creator of the Vibrant Energy Flow System, and she's also the author of 30 Days to a Vibrant, Healthier, Younger You. And she helps her clients to be able to restore balance, vitality, and purpose. A 3-time Shift Network speaker, Tomasa brings science and spirituality to empower light workers to live in full alignment and radiant health. And so with that, I'm going to ask you, how are you doing today? And where are you at right now? I know you're always all over the place.
I'm not even in Tucson today. I'm not even in Arizona. I have to fly Wednesday.
Oh my gosh, to be able to come into Arizona.
It's the Thanksgiving holiday. So I'm on the East Coast where my boyfriend lives. And so this is his first holiday without his mom. So I came to be with him.
You're so sweet. I'm so glad that he has you to be able to go do that. That's beautiful. Okay, so you're flying in from the East Coast. You're going to be coming into our conference. Tell us what's going to be happening at the event, both in your class and at the vendor hall. What are you going to be doing?
Well, in my class, I tweaked my topic. I normally go align your body with your cosmic blueprint. Well, I decided because I really do 3 things when I talk to people. And this is really about assessing, activating, and aligning with your cosmic blueprint. And so I'm actually going to be doing part of that at the conference, which is some hands-on where I will be doing some activations and alignments. So, and what exactly does that mean? Because somebody said to me, well, I wish Tammy would put the modalities on there. And I go, well, not everybody understands modalities, right? Mm-hmm. So part of it is I am an energy healer. I mean, I've been an energy healer for nearly 3 decades. I've been receiving it over 3 decades myself. And so, part of it has evolved over the years. And so I'm giving you what I got. I'm giving you what I give all the light workers who have come to work with me get. I am actually here to help you reach your highest potential. And part of it is sometimes we need to understand who we are first. Who are we? And why are we here? And it's all written in your cosmic blueprint. And that's what I'm going to be talking about. And I'm going to be assessing the cosmic blueprint. And we can do that outside of the conference. And I'd rather do that outside of the conference where you get a Zoom call. You can ask as many questions as you want. And you can get, some good time with me. like 45 minutes, and it's recorded. Because if I were to do it at the conference, you hear all this noise around you, and then you're like, huh, and there's no recording. Okay. So, you'll get that private time with me. And then the second piece is the activation piece. And the activation piece is very, very important. I want to point this out because there's somebody, when I was doing them at the beginning of the conferences in Utah a couple of years ago, most people just got readings. Okay. And then they didn't come back for the activations. And I think I did that at maybe the bigger conference in 2024 in the summertime. And so people who came to get activations, they're the ones who have taken off. And even at other conferences that I've attended, and anybody who gets an activation from me along with the reading, they start to feel themselves take off. Now, the people who have really reached their highest potentials are the ones who actually get shamanic work done with them. And so that's what the alignment piece is, because we come here, we're born, day, time, where we're born, and then as from the age of 0 to 7, we are like sponges soaking up what has been put in front of us as children. And so what happens is, we're programmed hypnotically as children, and we learn from the adults that have been in our lives. And then events happen in our lives. And I'm saying events that might not even make a big deal to anyone. It might be something that happened where we're traumatized, and the adults in our lives don't even realize that we're traumatized by some of these little things that we didn't get our needs met. And so that's what shamanic work helps you with, not just with inner child work, as you could probably guess what that's about, but also things that are buried in our subconscious that have come forth from other generations as well. So we might be carrying it in our DNA energetically. And so it's like, oh, why is this keep occurring? Maybe my child work around it, but maybe we, I want to say the world psychology calls it a double bind. And a double bind is when you have more than one thing tied to an issue going on in your life. So for instance, maybe, I'll tell you my wound. My wound is abandonment. And it doesn't even seem like I was ever abandoned, because I was always with my family. My family didn't put me on the doorstep. And that's not exactly what abandonment looks like for some people. And for me, it looked like I was the fourth child, the last daughter born. And so guess what? They put me in a crib and they let me cry. And so I never got held, hardly. And, as growing up, what I heard was, oh, shh, baby sleeping, don't ring the doorbell because she's going to cry. Well, do you understand why the baby wasn't crying, or why the baby was crying? The baby's crying because the baby's never held, right? The baby wants to be held, wants to be near its mommy, right? Wants people to hold it. And so that was my abandonment. When I went way back to look, I was like, whoa, I remember when I came to that realization, I was in deep tears for like several days. And I remember coming out of it and going, okay, I understand myself now. I understand how when people leave, I would be so upset. And it's so funny, even my last retreat that I did, I said to him, I said, you guys, I'm starting to have withdrawal symptoms. You guys are getting ready to go. I'm not liking this. And so, that abandonment wound comes up, right? Sometimes. And so anyway, what happens is, oh, well, I'm not the only one who has that abandonment wound. You can bet my mother does. She's the youngest of 2 daughters. I'm the youngest of 4 daughters. Her mother had it. She's the youngest of, I don't know how many children my grandmother was born of, maybe 4. But my grandmother actually was orphaned at a very young age, like 6 years old. So, both her parents died in a car accident. So you can understand how this abandonment wound gets passed down through the DNA energetically. It might not appear the same way as it did for my grandmother as it appeared for me. But, that abandonment wound is there. And I would even bet my youngest daughter has it somehow, some way, So abandoning people who feel abandonment will abandon others. So it's like that mirror reflection. But that's just one aspect of it, right? So these are some of the things that come up for people. How does your core wounds show up in your life? And then there's other things to look at too. So maybe you have past lives where you experience abandonment. And then you could look at maybe you've attracted some kind of entity. People don't like to talk about entities. Oh, no, no, no. But, they are real. And many of us aren't unaware that we might have them. And there's, I have a whole list that I share with my students of the medicine wheel, the checklist to look at. Has this ever happened to you? Has this ever happened to you? Has this ever happened to you? Have you been in this situation or this type of environment where you could have picked up an entity? And many people don't even realize it because, they think that's just part of who they are. And they might have lived with it for a very long time until it comes out. I had one student whose personality you would never even realize, like bones, like they looking like, whoa, who's this person on the table, right? And so a different personality comes out, and we remove that entity, and it's like, boop. Then it begins, she begins to be able to live her life more freely, more open, more to her highest potential. These are what we call blocks that show up in our lives. And so these are the things I'm going to be working on. I've never offered shamanic sessions at an event before, but I asked Tammy, could I put it up in the corner and do this? And so we are making those arrangements so that we will have enough privacy, because I've never offered them at an event because I feel like the privacy is so important. And if you can't make the event, here's the thing, is that you can do a remote session, and remote sessions are just as effective as an in-person event. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
So how would you like people to get a hold of you? Would that be this this link that has the conference bundle in it? This one here?
Yes.
Do
If
you
they
want to
want to
talk about
sign
that?
up for that event, then
Okay.
yes, they can do that. If they want to sign up for that package, then that's it. It's an intro, it's an A-Cube intro conference bundle. A-Cube stands for assess, activate, and align. And so it's an intro special, and this is the most basic thing I can give you. And normally I believe that that event is like, or that whole package bundle is worth over $700. And I'm offering at the conference for $222, which is more than 50% off.
Yeah.
So it's an amazing thing. If you were to pay for each one of those things separately, that's how much you would pay, over $700. So I'm offering it for $222. And those of you who kind of go, well, I need a payment plan. Well, guess what? I have my credit card processor has different ways that you can pay with Afterpay or Affirm. I think Klarna is the other one. And you can do a 0% interest with them, and have it paid within, I want to say, 3 months with some of them. So if that is the case, then this is a way to do it. So otherwise, if you came to work with me separately for each one of those things, you'd be paying like over $700. So I wanted to make sure that people could get in there and feel like they are getting some meat here, some things. And even if you aren't able to attend the conference, I want to point that out, because that bundle actually includes not only the cosmic blueprint reading, but it also includes a way that you can activate yourself if you're not there. And my product, 30 Days to a Vibrant, Healthy, Younger You, which is a video information product, actually shows you how to activate yourself. It might not be as personalized, but it's there. And then the shamanic session can be done remotely. And it's just, I will say, I would think that remote sessions are even special, because there's something about when people are not looked at, they feel like they can let go and let it all hang out. And they generally do that because they're not being looked at. I don't do it on Zoom. I do it on the phone because of that. I want people to just really let go. I'm working with energy. I'm not working with the visual aspect of it. I'm working with energy. And energy is so much more than what's right there and tangible in front of you.
Yeah. Well, that's amazing. Well, so if if somebody is like looking at this and they've never had any sort of, exposure to the energy healing world, why would you be a good candidate for somebody to go to? Because there are going to be some people who this is their first time. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. So I'm a good candidate because I've been doing this for 30 years. I work with people of all walks of life. I
Mm.
work with children. I've worked with teenagers. I've worked with newcomers who don't believe in it. And then when they get on the table, they're like, wow, or even if they have a remote session, they're like, wow, there are people who are like skeptical. I'm okay with skeptics. As a matter of fact, I'm that person who's like, bring them on. I'm here. And I'm that kind of person that will take you to the next level of your evolution of who you're here to be. And because I believe so much and I know so much, I remember getting my first session and receiving, had no idea. And I think that the key is, and I share this with a lot of people, I don't know where I wrote this recently, but is coming with a child's mind, because a child's mind is open. A child is open to whatever wonder is showing up for them. And so the children are sort of like, hey, you know, whatever's showing up, I'm ready for it, or I'm ready. I'm in the flow with it. And when that happens, so much can happen for that person. You can go so deep
Mhm.
and you can take your life to another level. And that's what's happened with the folks who are on the medicine wheel with me currently. They're just like open up and wonder. And whenever I've done anything like that, I've always opened my life up to bigger things happening. Even when I went to Peru in 2012, because the shamanism that I practice comes from Peru. I went to Peru in 2012. I had no idea what to expect. I didn't read up on about it. Most people will prepare and read. I'm like, no, I'm just going. I'm going to receive as a child, like, right? I had no idea what was going to happen. I remember being at one of the sacred sites, Aliantantambo, and sitting there in Aliantantambo, the rock talked to me. The rocks talk to me. And I began to understand how rocks talk to us, right? Even when I went to Mount Shasta, there's a place I go in Mount Shasta where the rocks talk to me. They give you information, but you have to be open to receive these insights. Otherwise, if you're there with conditioning and with your guards up, then
Mhm.
the blinders. So why am I good for new people? Because I have gentle ways of opening them up, and I have 30 years experience. So I've worked with people of all walks of life. Even
Yeah.
the people who don't understand astrology. I've had people say to me that they've studied their own astrology for many years from
Mm.
people they've heard on YouTube, or they look things up. And then when I read their charts, they're like, no one has ever read my chart that way. And that feels the most accurate to me.
Yeah.
And
And I've had that experience. I've literally had that experience. So, and I remember when you and I did mine, I
yeah.
I kept crying. I was so embarrassed that I cried so much, but I really did cry so much. But that's because I literally felt so seen. And in ways that other people, doing readings with me, I haven't been able to get to that kind of insight. And it really
Mhm.
was very supportive. It's amazing how people feel like they can heal once they're seen. You know what I mean? It really
Oh,
does make a difference.
mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I say that is so important to get the reading, understand it. And listen here, I'm going to say something about astrology, and people will tell you this, that, oh, you can go and you can look at the templates. And I teach people how to read their charts. I do in one of my courses, Unlock Your Cosmic Blueprint. I teach, there's a whole module. I could probably teach a whole 6-week class on it. And I love sharing that with people. And part of it is, I want people to understand who they are. And I want you to understand that, you can always choose the shadow piece, or you can choose the light piece, or you can take the shadow and transform it to the light. Because I'm a shaman. Okay. And part of it is shamans learn how to track. That's what we call it when we are initiated. It's called tracking. Many people would call it intuitive mediumships. Well, shamans learn how to track. And that's what I'm doing when I'm reading, because I could go so many different avenues with people. But it's like when I focus in on that person, what do I feel going on with them? And that's my tracking. And that's what comes up for me. And I can't describe it any other way. And I have chills as I say that. It's so funny. I was just on the phone with one of my students this morning, and they're two of them are in the intuitive medium. She go, you guys don't need that. You have it with tracking. You just gotta have the confidence. That's all. And they were like, and I said, and actually, you probably already had the gift before you came in onto the medicine wheel, the shamanic initiation program, right? Before you even came on to the medicine wheel. And she's like, yeah, that's true. And I said, yeah, you're just trying to get verification or confirmation that you know what you're talking about, right? And that you're not crazy, that you do see and feel these things, right? And so, the medicine wheel, I've never taken an intuitive mediumship course, and I never will, because I believe in what I've learned over the years, and I've watched my abilities grow. And I'm not talking about just, because I started as a sentient being. Whenever you put your hands on people, you got to be sentient, because you got to feel what's going on with them. Because you can put your hands on people and they're telling your story. But even listening to their pulses, because I practice, Asian healing arts, right? So even listening to their pulses, that tells you a story too. But you got to be able to decode that as well. And many people will call it intuition. And yes, it is. But I come to a place where it's the shamanic tracking. Okay, got it. All right, I hear this, right? And so it really is about you stepping into more of who you are. And if you got the gift and you're just not confident in it, I'm the person who's going to help you get more confident, because I'm going to say, hey, just do this, more of this, do that. Da, 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 da. And the thing about it is you can't force it. The thing is, when you sit quiet with yourself, you will start to hear the answers. And even if you don't even sit quiet by yourself, or you go out in nature will give you the answers as well. At least that's true for me. And if I know a different way for you, I'll say, I feel like this is the way you need to do it. And they'll go, oh, okay. Everybody is not a cookie cutter. Let's just be clear about that. There's no cookie cutter way for anything. And that's what my work is all about, helping you to find your way that is perfect for you, not some cookie cutter way.
Yeah. And I love the story about how you came from your background of being an engineer, and how you were able to see that that wasn't really where you wanted to be. That wasn't where your heart was telling you to stay. So you went this totally different direction, which I'm sure wasn't easy for you to do at the time. It was so different from what you were doing.
It is a lot different, but the truth is that I tell people, and one of my clients has said this to me many, many years ago, you might not be an electrical engineer anymore, but you're a human engineer now. And I go, I kind of like that. Okay. Here's the thing, is things happen to us for a reason. When I was in the corporate world, I was that hamster on the wheel. You understand it? Getting on that hamster wheel, trying to make my everyday life work. Contributing to the family household, actually being the biggest breadwinner of the family household at the time. And then raising two toddlers. They were two toddlers at the time. One was, how old was Alexis? Alexis, I want to say 4, and they were 4 and 2 at the time. And my husband at the time, he had been in and out of jobs. He has a high degree, has 2 degrees, economic degrees, one from Berkeley, one from Columbia, and was in and out of jobs all the time, or I should say, support. And then there was a point in time where I just said, okay, I broke down, and my body kind of broke down, and I couldn't get well. And so things happen for a reason. So I had to end up going to a Jinshin Jitsu practitioner. And many people who are in the Arizona area might know Jinshin Jitsu, because headquarters used to be there in Scottsdale.
Yeah.
And so I I ended up going to a Jinshin Jitsu practitioner because it was recommended by a coworker of mine who eventually became a client of mine, who just called me recently. When are you coming back to the Bay Area? I need some work.
Yeah.
So anyway, so I end up going to this Jinshin Jitsu practitioner, and what I went there for is to get well. Well, what I got was so much more. And this is what I give people, because when I got on that table, I felt like I was being plugged into source. And all I can say is that the practitioner was working on me and God was talking to me. That's the best way I can say. God was talking to me as the practitioner was working on me. And I saw my life. And so funny because I'll tell people I am not a vision person. I'm not. But I take that back. I say, yeah, I kind of have it. And it's grown over the years and it's turned into, and maybe what I recognize is it's a movie reel that plays for me. So the movie reel began to play while I was on the table with her. The movie reel began to play. It showed me my life and the path I was on. I was on a path to find my life purpose before I got married and had children. And before I moved to Silicon Valley, because I was down in Southern California. And I was like, I got to figure out what I'm here to do, because this engineering stuff, it's okay, but I can't be sitting in a cube working on this and that and stuff right there. I need people. I need to work with people.
Yeah.
And so it was working with people with sales and marketing. And then it became like, okay, that's fine, but I got to make a difference in the world, right? And so what this did was I got on the table, I received, I got better, I got well, but I also heard the call is like, Tomasa, you're here for something different. You can't continue this path because this path is going to wear you out. And so I remember starting to see my practitioner at the time. Her name was Sid Frederick. And I saw her on a weekly basis and I tried to cut it back and I just couldn't. And then she taught a class 6 months later after I started seeing her, and I take the class. And I remember being in my first class and putting my hands on myself and I didn't feel anything. But what did it was one evening I'm waiting to go take class. And one of my coworkers comes in and she's got the stiff neck and the chiropractor can't help her. And she says, well, he says I need to do this and that to my neck. I need to do stretches. And I looked at her and I said, I bet you Sid could help you. Well, I put my hands on her, what little I knew at the time. And she could feel something going on in her body. She was very sensitive, very empathic. And me, my whole body heated up. It was like all of a sudden, it's like, whew, my hands got hot, my whole body got hot. And I said, whoa. And she said, Tomasa, do you know you're a healer and you don't even know it? And I'm what? I'm scratching my head like, huh? And so I remember going to class that evening and telling Sid about it. And Sid looked at me and she said, we have us another Jinshin Jitsu practitioner. I said, oh, no. I had a lucrative career in Silicon Valley. There was no way. And I was, supporting the household, right? In a big way. And so then something must have hit me, because at the break, I came back to Sid and I said, I want to know how I can get certified to do Jinshin Jitsu. And so she gave me the name and number and the rest was history. And I remember taking my first class in Santa Rosa, California, sitting there and watching this former nurse teach. And she had the will of God in her. And I said, I'm going to be just like her. and so there started my journey, and it evolved since then. Whoever knew that I would be helping people with their life purpose, but that happened when I went to Peru, and I'd already been a practitioner since 1997, and this is 2012 when I go to Peru. So what's 15 years later, and I'm hearing here at the Ollantaytambo, the sacred site, Tomasa, you're here to help people find their life's purpose. I'm like, what? Are you crazy? I'm a healer, And so, and I think it's only been understood in the last maybe 5 years how to do that. Because I was like, yeah, okay. But it's like, oh, but you have these pieces here. You understand astrology, you understand numerology, you understand this Jinshin Jitsu that activates everything, that has the numerology, astrology in it. And then you are already doing the shamanic pieces.
That's amazing.
And the shamanic, it all integrates together. So.
Well, I love how you work with people who are new, but then you also are really very comfortable with seasoned practitioners and those who've been doing their own work for some time to help them to find that missing link. So I love how you're very versatile. You can work with all different ages, all different kinds of backgrounds, but also whether they're well versed in this type of work or brand new. So
Yeah. I've helped a lot of light workers quantum leap their lives. And what I mean by quantum leap their lives is like, well, maybe you dabbled in it and then you take off, you start doing it. Or maybe it's like, hey, I'm pretty seasoned. I can talk about one of your practitioner friends, who I worked on at a conference. I was just thinking about her this morning. She's actually one of my testimonials on my site, and she does breath work. She's breath work facilitator. She came and she got activated in June of 2024. She has taken off. I have chills as I say that to you, and that's all I said to her. I did her reading and I activated her and she took off.
That's amazing.
So, and I told her she needed shamanic work and she took my advice. So
that's awesome. That's amazing.
Yeah. So,
well, I am excited also that you'll be teaching a class as well as doing, your own vendor, working with people in the vendor space there. So no matter if people want to come to the class or both or all of the above, they can do that. So very, very nice. You've made it very easily accessible for people, which is very, very nice.
Yes. And then one of the things people should understand when you come to my class is not just me lecturing. It's I'm going to give you some hands-on. You're going to take away some tools and you'll even, take away a little bit something. I'll give you a postcard or something to help you to activate some things within yourself. So there's a lot of work. Yeah. So awesome. I'm excited. I'm excited to open it up even further.
That's amazing. Well, for those of you who are watching, if you've been to one of our conferences before, you may have been to a conference where there's thousands of people. One of the unique things about this particular event is that it's a smaller, more intimate gathering. So you're going to be able to get a little bit more attention from the people that you're taking classes with. You'll be able to see the people that you see in the halls and in the vendor spaces more regularly. There is value in doing an intimate gathering like this. And if it's well received, then we're going to keep coming back. But as of right now, we're nearly full for this conference. So for those of you who are watching, if you don't yet have tickets, I want to really encourage you to go ahead and get those. It's going to be so good. But yeah, you can send me a text. The number is big going across the bottom of the screen. If you don't yet have your free ticket, or if you're friends with Tomasa and you already work with her, you're also welcome to go ahead and reach out to her because I know she's got some tickets as well.
I do. I've been texting people. So come on down and get your tickets.
It's going to be awesome. So that'll be this coming Saturday, December 6th. And Tomasa, do you have anything else that you'd like to close with today?
I don't think so. Come on by. Come and hear me talk. And it's not just about hearing me talk. Come and apply it to your life. Because I think that's the biggest thing, is about applying what I teach and what I share to your life. And watch yourself begin to evolve.
That's awesome. All right. Well, I can't wait. And safe travels as you're flying from the East Coast. We'll see you in Arizona in a few days.
Yes. I'm looking back to coming back to Arizona, to the warmth. It might not be as warm as it was before I left, but it will be warmer than where I am today.
Yeah. Yeah, it was 18 degrees when Casey went to work this morning, and we have a blanket of snow at our house. So it makes the hot tub a little bit more enjoyable, but it's about it for me.
I'm sure you're looking coming to Arizona too.
Yes, that was exactly my point. All right. Well, thank you so much, my friend.
All righty.
Thank you.
Okay. See you on Saturday. Take